Today is Maitreya Day, and when I tried this wish, it seems there are sick people in your households. Today I placed my hands like this on your Buddhist membership cards and made a wish for you. This is exceedingly good. Healing effect of Buddha's enlightened light from now on. We hold a Buddhist meeting every Sunday, right? What I have now thought is that even at this hour, there are many who suffer from illness and find living difficult. Many are lying in hospitals, yes? Many are lying at home as well, with so many sick people that words cannot express it now. For the sick, I will now make wishes for them every Sunday, yes? Even without visiting one by one to make wishes, if I make wishes from here with Buddha's enlightened light, it means you receive tremendously good blessings. Understood? So you who are healthy in body can come to the temple now, but those whose bodies are ill cannot come even if they wish. I intend to do this for them. To make wishes, yes, and I will proceed step by step. There are cancer patients and many other sick people. If I now make wishes from here for them as well, they improve greatly. Truly, yes? Why is it good? The human body possesses innate abilities to defend and to heal itself, but there is a reason it does not work as one wishes. When the body is very ill, it does not work well. So if I make wishes here with Buddha's enlightened light, it is immensely good. You will see later whether this is a lie. As to what Buddha's enlightened light is, I will now explain in detail. What is Buddha's enlightened light? Yes? It is not easily seen by your eyes, is it? But there are many who do see it. And that is light. Light, as light, is the same as the sun's light and the same as electric light. Therefore light can enter in an instant, but the Buddha's enlightened light is different. Why is it different? If a person while working is buried underground, or while catching fish at sea or doing some work dies, then the spirit is inside there and cannot come out. How to perform Chindo for a spirit trapped in a coal mine. So then, the other day I performed a Chindo ceremony, and I was told he died when the tunnel collapsed while working in a mine. But I saw that he was buried more than 20 kilometers underground in a mountain. If one is 20 kilometers into the earth, how tremendously deep is that? It is the greatest mountain in the world. If it has gone more than 20 kilometers into the ground, right? By what skill would you take that out? Buddhists listening to this broadcast as well as those who do not attend any temple may all benefit. But you must listen well to my words. Why must you listen? When a person dies, if one dies out here, the spirit remains around here, right? But if one dies underground, one is buried underground. One cannot come out. Then by what skill would you take out the spirit and perform Chindo? Listen well to my words and all of you must learn. Then if one is buried more than 20 kilometers underground in a mine, by what skill could you take that out the spirit? Even if you gave the whole earth, you could not take it out. I am saying that what cannot be done by human power can be done. How? By what skill would you take out the spirit that is in the ground? How do you take it out? If, from the sky above, you shine Buddha's enlightened light down upon the spirit, buried in the earth with Buddha's enlightened light, the mountain splits wide open. So even if one is buried not 20 kilometers but hundreds of thousands of kilometers underground, it opens to the end. Do you understand? With that light the mountain is split and opened, and the spirit inside can be taken out and Chindo can be performed that is precisely Buddha's enlightened light. Understood? And thus I took out that spirit and performed Chindo. It means Chindo is that difficult. Do you understand? So merely chanting the Buddha's name and beating on things has nothing to do with Chindo. The sun's light only shines upon what is out and visible, it cannot shine upon what is not visible. The sun's light, but Buddha's enlightened light can enter without limit even to what is not visible. Therefore it is Buddha's enlightened light that can take that out. Our lay believer, Bodhisattva L, also said she saw that when Buddha's enlightened light was struck down upon a spirit in darkness, the ice shard shattered into pieces and the spirit inside burst out. That is a sure account. So I am saying Chindo is that difficult to perform. Then if one sat in water and drowned, how would you take that out? So there has long been a proverb, If one drowns, one becomes a water ghost. If one dies in the mountains, one becomes a mountain ghost. If one dies on the road, one becomes a road spirit. You have heard such sayings. They are certain. So you have often heard in the news that once a traffic accident happens in one spot, accidents keep occurring there. A spirit is there. Therefore accidents keep happening. It pulls and draws. When a person is alive, one does not know well. One does not know, but upon death one can know immediately. Thus human life is that precious. That Bodhisattva said her father-in-law was buried like that while mining coal. So truly, humans work in such jobs to make a living, and even now, not only in our country but abroad, those who dig for gold or coal work much underground. Yes? Then such accidents can be suffered. It is frightening. You learned much today? Yes? It means that taking out a spirit and performing Chendo is that difficult. Thus, though the sun's light and the Buddha's enlightened light are both light, the sun's light shines only upon what is visible to my eyes, whereas the Buddha's enlightened light can enter even to what is not visible. A spirit lying in the mountains can be taken out as much as needed. As much as needed. Religion must be verifiable with the eyes. I have said countless times, religion must always be something you can see. Understood? It must be something you can see. What cannot be seen, you must not believe. Soul, spirit is the same. Can you see a soul, spirit with your eyes or not? You can't see it. Because you can't see it, you can't meet the soul, spirit, even if you want to see it. When a person lives and dies, one absolutely cannot see it. If one dies, one cannot see it. Only the soul, spirit is buried with that light that only the soul, spirit is buried with. What trick would you use to take that soul, spirit and make it reincarnation, rebirth? Think about it. How much sense does that make? So, performing a shaman ritual or holding an ancestral rite simply means, soul, spirit, please go and live in a good place. But reincarnation, rebirth is impossible. That is why I said, a religious sect, denomination is not a religious sect, denomination if it cannot be seen with the eyes. All the religious sect, denomination in the world are the same. What cannot be seen with the eyes, you can't see it because it doesn't exist, right? If it exists, you can see it. You can't see it because it doesn't exist. Is that so or not? When I want to see it, I can't see it. I can't see it because it doesn't exist. A religious sect, denomination must always be confirmed. What cannot be confirmed is all a lie. That is the story. So, when a person dies, you can't even see the soul, spirit. That is why the soul, spirit cannot come again. That is the story. It disappears. That is why they say when one dies, it is transience. When one dies, it is transience. So by what trick can they make a human being come again? It doesn't fit the principle. That is why I said last time, a dead persimmon tree does not bear persimmons and does not bloom. A person is the same. If one dies, it ends with that, whereas the person who dies and comes again. That is why the Buddha's enlightened light is necessary. That is the story. Why? Because there is no flesh and bones. You must listen carefully to my words and learn. Because these are precious words. So, every religious sect, denomination waits? You want to have it and achieve your wish, don't you? That is a religious sect. Denomination comes from human desire. That religious sect, denomination will not be fulfilled. In the past, I was born in a temple, so I know well. But my uncle was a monk, and I asked him from when I was young. When I ask a lot. When I was 5 or 6 years old, I ask where a person goes when they die. When I ask, he just stammers, doesn't speak, and stammers. Why do you want to know? He says, but there is no definite answer. That is the story. Understood? Then, there is a good thing when I am alive. That means I can live well only if I have awakening. Is that so or not, everyone? If you don't have awakening, you can't live well. I put the Buddhist membership card like this. Isn't it amazing? When I put it like this and press it, wow, I saw a rich person on YouTube saying that. They said a very good event is the best. They feel good because such good grace goes to them. Putting down hundreds of millions of Buddhist membership card, doing one or doing hundreds of millions is the same. Because the light goes in, receiving the grace is the same. Are you dizzy? So, I have to put it in strongly. Then the names entered here. All the names are entered, because it is a Buddhist membership card. These people receive truly good fortune and extinction their karma. Do you know how good it is? I really, thank you. For those who are too busy to come to the temple or live too far away, because they have a card and have their name registered at Y Temple, I give them the wish equally, just like the others. It's good to live, try living it. If I am lying, it's good to live. I saw our monks here, Monk N and Monk S, and their cards weren't visible, so I deliberately had them write them out. So, I did it, and now they will be attaining Buddhahood. Does it sound like a lie? It's not a lie. You are all attaining Buddhahood, and you wonder what attaining Buddhahood is. But there is still no one who knows that a person dies and goes to live in a good place, because no one has been there. Only the awakening Buddha knows that. Living being does not know how it looks. How does the land of happiness, the land of perfect bliss look? It's good. Do you know how good it is? It's called the land of happiness, the land of perfect bliss because it's good. But you don't know because you haven't been there. I went to Yonghwa world once the other day, didn't I? Yonghwa world. I did it once, didn't I? Do you know how good it is? It is all entered into your minds now. Yonghwa world is there. So, when you die, you can go there. Our monk didn't come then, so he couldn't go. Do you know how truly good Yonghwa world is? That is why you learn the enlightenment. Understood? Monks, when you get to know them, are truly precious people. But for all those who learn the enlightenment, there is no job as good as a monk. If you consider it as a job, do you know how good it is? If you are a monk, you go there after death. Coming back to the world with a body again is not that good. I said that last time, didn't I? I said if I live and die and come to Sabha world, I don't want to receive a human body. Why? What is so good about a person? I said it's better to come as a tree. Gong thought is Mahayana. Law of interdependent arising is Hinayana if you become a tree. Wow, how good it is. You don't have to eat rice. You don't get sick. You don't have to earn money. You don't need to buy clothes. And birds come and play on the tree. It is not difficult at all. Even a tree. It would be good to have such a good fate as a tree. But somehow one comes as a human, lives a hard life, and eventually meets death. That is the story. If you go to Yonghwa world, that won't happen. One only dies if one has flesh and bones. Since there is no flesh and bones, there is no reason to die. Do you know what that means? No flesh and bones, so no reason to die. Only I know that. Do you know what that means? That is called Gong thought. Understood? Oh my, they call that Gong thought. So, there is no death. The thought of interdependent arising always has death. Death. What has death refers to living being. Understood? Interdependently arising refers to living being. What is living being? In modern terms, they say it is Hinayana Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism, right? The religious sect, denomination that encounters death and as death is all Hinayana. Understood? So, the thought of interdependent arising is called a Hinayana religious sect, denomination. Understood? So, what should you do to escape Hinayana? You must escape death. That is the story. That is why it has to become Gong thought to become Mahayana Buddhism. So, if I give a difficult sermon now, you won't understand. So you have to learn little by little, right? A monk is that good. Monks who went to Yonghwa world and monks who couldn't. If you go to Yonghwa world, there are many monks. There are many. So, who are those monks? If you look at where they came from, they are the monks who learned the enlightenment in the past. There are few monks these days who went in the past. Most of the monks who learned the enlightenment alone, begged for alms, and did ascetic practices are there when you go. Understood? So, there are none of the monks these days. Why? There are many monks who learn the enlightenment alone, but there are also many monks who have a family. If you look, the monks who have a family have a little problem in learning the enlightenment. Such monks cannot go. So, if desire is attached to learning the enlightenment, one cannot go. One must not have desire. Because they have desire. So, Hinayana exists and then disappears and undergoes extinction. So that becomes Hinayana, that is the story. Hinayana is only living being. One must always start anew. If one comes once and goes, one has to start anew. If one comes and goes, one has to start anew. That is called Hinayana. So, all things in the world belong to Hinayana, that is the meaning. Everything in the world starts anew, doesn't it? Everything in the world starts anew, doesn't it? Only if one does not start and always exists does it become Mahayana. Then what should one do? One must have done such learning the enlightenment. Starting anew is Hinayana, always existing is Mahayana. Gong thought, do you know why a thief steals? Once they get a taste for it, it's fun. They don't have to work hard, do they? They can just go and sneak a steal. They can't escape that mind. A human being absolutely cannot escape it. Therefore, will such a person go to Yonghwa world? They can't go. They can't go. So, one must create it oneself. The Buddha does not create it. One must create it oneself. So, Mahayana is not starting anew. It must always exist. So, Gong thought is Mahayana Buddhism. That is the story. Understood? Therefore, all the Buddhists and monks across the country must listen carefully to my words and learn. A person has a future only if they learn what they need to learn. Someone who thinks what they do is the best and does not accept what others do is not an enlightenment learner. So, I learned this, and I learned the enlightenment with this. That is that person's mind. That does not mean it is all correct, that is the story. When I say Maitreya Buddha has come, they ask what Maitreya Buddha is, but the awakening I know, living being cannot even imitate it. Not even imitate it. If I reveal all of Gong thought, the earth will be completely turned upside down. It's because I don't talk about it. So, because I only say things that are good to hear, easy to understand, and quick to learn, it is annoying to hear. That is the story. What is that? Look carefully. The easiest religious sect, denomination, things that are easy to learn, things that are not visible to the eye, things that cannot be seen, things that cannot be confirmed. I said these are not a religious sect, denomination, didn't I? These are the basics of a religious sect, denomination. If I reveal all of the Gong thought that the true Maitreya Buddha brought when he came to Sabha world, the earth will be turned upside down. I tell you, it's not a lie. I am a person who knows that much. Therefore, if you look at the whole world, there is Christianity, Hinduism, Allah. There are many religious sect, denomination, aren't there? What will happen to people who have these religious sect, denomination? They will be turned upside down. I tell you, it's because I don't talk about it. One should not unconditionally evaluate a person. One must know the meaning of who that person is and why that person came to the world. One should not oppose unconditionally, that is the story. Who knows what I am saying now? No one knows anything. They only know because I tell them. So, there is a basic principle. The basic principle of a religious sect, denomination. Confirm with the eyes there is a basic principle in a religious sect, denomination. That is the story. That is, what is not visible is not a religious sect, denomination. This is me chasing after a floating cloud. Floating cloud. What cannot be seen is the same. No. If you have a daughter and are going to send her off in marriage, you send her after seeing with your own eyes who the bachelor is, don't you? Do you send your daughter just by hearing words? Is that so or not? You cannot believe what is not visible, can you? Is that so or not? There is a proverb, isn't there? That one waits believing in the maiden next door and can't get married. How do you know if there is a maiden or not? When it hasn't been confirmed by your eyes, did she promise to come? Therefore, What has no basis cannot be a religious sect, denomination. If you believe that, in the future after death, one cannot find the path one is supposed to go, it does not exist. Think about it. Nowadays, the world has become an era of materialism, so people like money. Religious people should not like money. Money is something that has a bad poison, that is money. I look at a person and my mind becomes good, but they look at a person by associating them with money, that is the story. Money is very bad. Money is poison. If one likes such a thing, it becomes poison for the enlightenment learner to learn the enlightenment, that is the story. That is why I said last time, if a person comes to the world and only lives for 300 years, 500 years and then dies, why would they die and go to the land of happiness, the land of perfect bliss? Isn't that right? Even if they live for only 300 years, 500 years, if one lives for 500 years, they won't go to the land of happiness, the land of perfect bliss, even if it means not dying forever there. I will live for 500 years, right? So, what is wind? I have countless enormous awakening sermons, but I don't give them. Human beings are wind. Wind also interdependently arise. Human beings are wind. Wind. Do you know what wind is? Everyone, no matter how bright one's eyes are, and even if one has owl eyes, no one has ever seen the wind. Can you see the wind with your eyes? You can't, can you? But when the wind blows, you can't imagine it. It's because it blows weakly. Try having a strong wind blow. It uproots all the trees right there. Is that so or not? Human beings are the same as the wind. Wind does not blow continuously. It blows and then disappears later. Human beings are the same, right? What is that interdependently arising? Interdependently arising. Does the wind interdependently arise or not? Wind, even though you can't see it with your eyes, it is alive because the tree branches shake and the waves crash due to the wind. I tell you, is that so or not? And then it disappears, that is the story. Wind also interdependently arise. All the current enlightenment learner monks in our country must listen carefully to my words and learn, as I give a sermon and live broadcast on Maitreya's day. If I make the monks speak, it is pure nonsense. Nonsense. I said last time, didn't I? When you clap your hands, a sound is produced, right? You only know that a sound is produced, but you don't know what it means right now. Do you know how difficult this is? Even if your IQ is 100 million, you don't know this. Even if your IQ is 100 million. So, it has nothing to do with awakening words. No matter how high a person's IQ is, it has no relevance to awakening. Awakening belongs only to the Buddha. Living being has no awakening. Try posing a Jew. Can you pose one? They absolutely cannot pose a Jew. Living being cannot pose a Jew. Only an awakening person can pose a Jew. Do you know? Yes, living being cannot pose a Jew. Therefore, what more is there than I am if they pose one? They cannot pose a Jew, I tell you. Then even Shakyamuni Buddha cannot pose a Jew. There is no Jew. So, this is also a precious Jew. This too, do you know? Hitting once and hitting 3 times, this is also an enormous Jew. That is the story. Then, instead of unconditionally opposing what I say, you must know the meaning. A human being does not live just by eating 3 bowls of rice a day. One lives only if one eats rice and excretes feces. If one only eats and does not excrete, one dies. A human being knows nothing at all. If you look inside, they only know what they need to live. A person knows nothing about the world. That is the story. If you make them sit down and speak, they are like that. So, you shouldn't hate me, I tell you. You just need to keep your own things well and go. Is that so or not? Why do you keep speaking ill of others and talking about others, when you don't even know all of your own things? Is that so or not? Therefore, human beings are the worst kind of species. That is the story. One just needs to keep one's own things, but they interfere with others' things and pick a fight about others' things. That is the story. Even though they know nothing. If you look inside a human being, their belly is only full of poop. Saying that a religious sect, denomination, I must protect the history well, is what foolish living beings say. When the times change and time passes and the times change, you must follow. What time is it now? Summer is coming, isn't it? Then are you going to keep wearing the padded pants you wore in winter and live? You must live by following the times, that is the story. You can't wear that these days, because it's hot. Is that so or not? You must live knowing the meaning. If you live without knowing the meaning, one cannot live even 300 years in one's life and goes. If a person dies before they even reach 60 years old, they die without even being able to do all of their own life that they lived for 60 years. There is no time to interfere with others' things, but they speak as if they know. One must awakening Gong thought to understand life. That is why the thought of interdependent arising and Gong thought are precious. That is the story. If one does not know this, one does not even know well how one came to the world and lived and went, and one dies while living. I tell you, if you live and die and go to King Yama, when he asks what good deeds you did while living, what will you say? You have to answer, don't you? I didn't earn any money and didn't do many good deeds, but I went to White Temple and listened to the sermon and attended the temple many times. If you go there, King Yama will look and say, there is the Buddha's enlightened light in your body, so I cannot touch you. Go away. That's what he says. If he tells you to go away, where is that path? That is Yonghwa world, understood? I told you already. Beings must also receive the sun's light to sprout, right? Then, why does the interdependent arising come to exist? Since it came up anyway, I should tell you, a being cannot live alone. A being absolutely cannot live. Then who must it live with? It must live with the soil. Only when it meets the soil can the two beings interdependently arise to sprout, and there it takes root in its life. Then, after living another world, when it gets old and ages, it must be harvested again. It's the end. Its lifespan is finished. Is that right or not? That is the same as humans or gods. That's what I'm saying. You all are the same as beings. Did you just come out? You were made inside the womb and came out, right? Right? You don't just come out. Who did you meet inside the womb? Did the K and J meet? There must have been someone you met, right? You didn't just come out, did you? It's the same. The principle of the world is, so coming out is life. Where is the most beautiful place in the world? The most beautiful place in the world is the place where the baby is inside. That place is the most beautiful place in the world, I said. Understood? Do you know how precious that place is? That's why a new life comes out from there. The preciousness of life and the problem of the death penalty, no matter how good the technology is. Can it make a human? It can't make one. A human is that precious. To curse a precious person because you hate them and kill a person, this is an impossible thing. If you kill, you receive divine punishment. These days, the death penalty system has disappeared. So even if you kill someone, you receive life imprisonment or something like that at the correctional facility and are living. But that person is currently living, right? Huh? You killed a person. Listen carefully. You killed a person, right? Then they say that it's not good to have a system of killing living beings. They say you shouldn't kill living beings, so they don't allow the death penalty, right? That is not the law. Interdependent arising is doing the same thing. You absolutely cannot arise interdependently with only one palm. You must have two. If you kill a person, you must also die originally. So, when you commit a sin, you receive the compensation for the sin and come out, right? That's when the sin disappears. That, because I paid the price. Then, if you killed a person, you should also go. Why is he alive? This is a case where the human law is wrong. That's what I'm saying. If someone else killed your child, how much would the parent's heart be torn apart? To the extent that the anger won't be resolved, even if you beat the other person to death, huh? While the heart is hurting, if he is living openly, sitting in prison, just eating rice, then how much anger would there be? That's what I'm saying. If you interpret it with Buddhism, that is wrong. shouldn't you bring the person back to life or do something? If you killed them, but you can't bring them back to life, that's what I'm saying. However, to let them live openly doesn't make sense, that's what I'm saying. How precious is human life? I must learn the enlightenment well for this precious life while I'm alive, so that you all will have a future later on. That's why I'm talking about the bean. Even a bean as big as this cannot pass itself off as a bean if it is just left here. It must be buried in the ground. It becomes a bean only by arising interdependently. As I said last time, all things in the world are the same as humans. Although the actions are different and the way of living is different, they are the same. That's why if I plant a potato, that potato comes out as a Maitreya Buddha statue. I'm telling you, 80% all come out as Maitreya Buddha statues. The potatoes, the remaining 20% you can't even steam and eat, because they are strangely shaped. Even plants change, but because Maitreya Buddha came to the Sabha world, people are doing things like this with their fingers and sitting around saying, oh no, if the Chindo ceremony doesn't come in, how can we live? The temple won't be managed either. I'm old too, I should die quickly and go. There are many monks who have such bad intentions, that's what I'm saying. To receive what kind of divine punishment? You absolutely must not do that. Even plants change, isn't that right? You all saw it. Sweet potatoes also become strange. You can't steam and eat the sweet potatoes. When you look at them, your mind doesn't go to them. The appearance is shaped like a Buddha statue. The appearance is a Buddha statue, isn't it? To steam and eat them, they were never steaming and eating all the potatoes and sweet potatoes they dug up. I saw it in the kitchen. They don't steam and eat them. The mind doesn't go to them. The mind to steam and eat them, because they are so strangely shaped. Even such plants change, so why don't humans change? That's what I'm saying. Then what is contained within that mind? It's not a human mind that is contained, but a mind like a tiger or a lion, isn't it? Why can't a human understand a human's words? Then, he sees the real thing and calls it fake. And a person must use their mind well. No matter how much a human learns, no matter how much they pray and learn the enlightenment, a human does not become a Buddha. Understood? Originally, a Buddha comes to the world from the very beginning. I do not become a Buddha by studying and learning the enlightenment. So, saying that you will attain Buddhahood by learning the enlightenment is all a lie. That's what I'm saying. Attaining Buddhahood is becoming a Buddha. That's why, I am old now, aren't I? I haven't lived the world that way. The right way to spend money is good for people, right? Even though I like it, I have also earned a fair amount of money. I have earned money countless times, but I haven't done things like earning money and just piling it up, buying land and buying buildings as a rich person. If I had gathered it all now, my wealth would be unimaginable, truly. But what's the use of gathering so much? If you gather a lot of money, it rots. Because it rots, you have to spend it quickly on good things. Is that right or not? If you earn money, where should I spend it so that the other person will take the money, right? The world goes round only when there is a taste of giving and receiving from each other. If you earn a lot of money and just pile it up and let the money rot, that money has no value. At least, shouldn't there be a reward for earning money by buying a meal for a poor person and buying a meal for a beggar? Raise your hand, those of you who have bought a meal for the beggars on the street. Are there any? Beggars. There is one person. It's not easy. Buying a meal. It seems easy, doesn't it? It's not easy. What are the enlightenment learners then? If you enlighten living beings, should you only send people who wear clean clothes, have a lot of money, are rich, and drive a car, only those people to a good place? You must also send poor and needy people to a good place and give them blessings. Originally, when you go to a temple, you should originally walk. If you go by car, you are not going to receive blessings, but to take blessings. Is that right or not? Is what I'm saying right or wrong? You are not going to build blessings. You are going to take the blessings, to carry them in the car. What kind of people are those who go to a temple? No matter how great a person is, when I see them, they all become ghosts when they die. That's what happens. There was no one who did not become a ghost. The great monk who came to receive the Chindo ceremony attached to the rice cake. Our monk knows well, it's a big temple. He was invited because a great monk at that temple died, and he went on the day of the 49-day funeral ceremony, didn't he? He went, and those people performed the Chindo ceremony for several days and nights. Because their precious great monk passed away, the disciples don't just quickly perform it. Dozens of disciples and the faithful just chant the Buddha's name day and night. It must not stop. They continue to chant the Buddha's name by rotating so it doesn't stop, and they perform the Chindo ceremony that way. The 49. 3 days and nights is 6 days. Our monk was so pestered to come that he said he was going. And he went. So I told him to go and come back. He went, and the president even sent a wreath. The president. Because he was a great monk, a famous monk, huh? But he went, and when the 49-day funeral ceremony was over, he came in the evening. He came, and he brought a white rice cake, a besides, holding it in his hand. He gave it to me. The rice cake. I didn't even tell him to bring rice cake. He brought the rice cake and was giving it to me. I looked, and he was giving me the white rice cake in his hand like this to give to me. I looked, and the dead monk was attached to the rice cake. Attached to the rice cake. So I said to the monk, the dead monk is attached to the rice cake. Then he said, what? He was startled and lost his mind. He can't see the ghost. Then, the ghost was attached to the rice cake. A ghost doesn't have flesh and bones, right? Because it doesn't have it, it can attach itself anywhere. Because it is made of light, it can attach itself here and everywhere. That's what I'm saying. Because it doesn't have flesh and bones, it went and attached itself to the rice cake and came. Why would it have followed attached to the rice cake? Because Holy Maitreya Buddha is there. If it follows there, it thought that it could receive the Chindo ceremony, so that ghost followed. That's what I'm saying. No matter how much you learn the enlightenment, not just a great monk, but anyone, when they die, they all disappear as a ghost. That's the meaning. Monks must listen carefully to my words and engrave them in their hearts. No matter how much you learn the enlightenment or whatever, if you die, you all disappear. Come to me. If you come to me, I'll tell you right away, because I can see. So what is it? I didn't receive the rice cake, because the ghost was attached to the rice cake. But what would happen if I received the rice cake? That monk would be enlightened, saved, if I received the rice cake. Do you know? The Chindo ceremony happens in an instant. If the Buddha's enlightened light reaches, the karma that he possesses disappears in an instant, and he can be reincarnated. Understood? So, if you learn the enlightenment Gong thought, you can understand 100% of what I say. It's because I don't tell you. If you learn Gong thought, you understand 100% of what I say. So, Gong thought is precious. So, you can know that the awakening Buddha is precious. That is the story. It's because I don't tell you, so you don't know. There is no use looking for the 1,000-character classic. The 1,000-character classic is something that human beings need and use to live. It has nothing to do with awakening in my life. Such things. One must learn the law of interdependent arising and awakening Gong thought. Therefore, if one does not learn interdependently arising, even if I tell them Gong thought, they cannot learn the enlightenment. First, one must learn all of the thought of interdependent arising. And then, one must learn Gong thought to understand Buddhism and understand religious sect, denomination. Everything in the world becomes visible. If you learn Gong thought, everything becomes visible. There is no need to ask anyone. Because I can know everything. So, if I know all of Gong thought, I can know all the future for thousands of years until the earth ends. That is the story. It is precious. You are wondering what that is. How difficult and precious it is. You must learn that. So, in the future, although I am currently living in Sabha world, when the time comes, you all must also go. When you go, the path you will take is not even determined. You don't even know where you will go. Then, so, one must do learning the enlightenment to be able to interdependently arise the path one wants to go. Understood? Interdependently arising is also dependent on interdependently arising. There is a path I want to go. Oh, if you die now and are reborn and go, try being born in a poor country. How difficult would it be to live? It is better not to be born at all. There are many countries with no water and where people just drink muddy water, aren't there? Try being born there. It's better not to be born at all. It's because the world has become better these days. In the past, when I was young, when I was growing up, women would have daughters and send them off in marriage, right? The married life was so hard and difficult that when women came to their parents' home, if they received a day once a year and came, they would refuse to go back to their in-laws' home. They would cry. I always saw that a lot while living. When a daughter is born, she is sent off in marriage. And the married life is so hard and difficult that when they come to their parents' home once, they refuse to go back, crying. I always saw that. Then their own mother, their parents' mother, would say, "You bitch, you have to go there and die and become a soul, spirit there even if you die." And if they didn't listen, she would chase them and push their back and tell them to hurry up and go. I saw that a lot. That is life. What if they don't get married? Unless one can only reincarnation rebirth if they get married and can only receive a human body if they get married. Even people who don't get married can reincarnation rebirth. So why do they try to force them to get married? That is not an obligation. It is set up like that in the world. It is not like that these days. They say, don't go if you don't want to go. They don't force them to go. Life is like that. Life was hard in the past. I also lived a lot through the barley hump in the past. I am old, so I know everything. In the past, when spring came, there was no mugwort in the fields. We picked mugwort day and night and made mugwort rice and mugwort tuck. And there was no mugwort in the fields because we made mugwort rice. I tell you, the seeds had dried up. Digging mugwort was the work, because there was nothing to eat. I also lived that hard in the past. So, how good it is to live these days. That is why be wary of materialism, because the era of materialism has come. People don't look at others favorably. They look at people with money. They don't look at them as precious. That is the story. They build a temple big and magnificently, and they look at it favorably. And if the temple is small, they look at it indifferently and lightly. That is a person's mind. I tell you, human beings, Look. What is precious is not out in the world. What is precious? Do you know what is precious? Look at things like gold. Does gold roll around on the street? Gold. Precious gold is buried deep in the ground. A person is the same. Do you think the Buddha rolls around everywhere? You don't know by looking. He looks the same. The appearance. If I walk around like this, who would call me Maitreya Buddha? They would call me an old man. Saving human life is simple. Living being cannot do it. By what trick do they save a person? If you live in the world, you can't even say how harsh and evil human beings are. The mind one has set should not change, but a person changes by themselves, don't they? Human beings are living being because of that. So, they shouldn't change. Don't try to live as a rich person. Being rich is not good. Even if you earn a lot of money and live as a rich person, you have to leave it behind, don't you? When you die, does your child protect it well? Not at all. They can't protect it. There is a proverb, isn't there? They say a rich person doesn't last 3 generations. It's difficult to protect it. The world shouldn't only like money that much. One must do good deeds in one's life, look after poor people, and live one's life like that. You shouldn't only like money, I tell you. This religious sect, denomination, when I look at the people in India, when their parents die, they take them out to the Ganges river and slightly char them and push them into the river water. They say that is the water of life? Listen carefully. Go to a church. They say one must cross the Jordan River. What is the water of the Jordan River? What are you crossing? There is nothing there. What is the point of crossing to a place like that? Therefore, a religious sect, denomination that cannot be seen is not a religious sect, denomination. What cannot be seen is the same. Then, if it is earth, water, fire, and wind. When one dies, the flesh and bones goes to the earth, goes to the wind, goes to the water, doesn't it? What is the point of going there, when it undergoes extinction and scatters? Where does it go when it scatters? The soul, spirit leaves, leaving only the body. Because one died, something with a beginning and no end. Gong thought. Do you know why death comes? Death. Why do you suddenly die while living? What is death? Do you understand the thought of interdependent arising? If there is a beginning, there is an end. That is called interdependently arising. If there is a beginning, there is an end. But what is something that has a beginning but no end? Why is it? Gong thought. This is truly frustrating. Something that has a beginning but no end. Something that has a beginning and has an end. Do you understand what it means? It's difficult, isn't it? Try saying it, those who know. Do you understand? You know that? Try saying it. So, something that has a beginning and exists, and something that has a beginning but no end. What does that mean? Right, the thought of interdependent arising. And what has no end? Did you come from the US? The faithful statement. Look, what does Alpha and Omega mean? The beginning and the end are the same, aren't they? If you speak like that, you cannot learn the enlightenment. Alpha and Omega means the beginning and the end are the same. The beginning and the end are the same? You are talking nonsense when the explanation is simple. Then, what does it mean that the beginning and the end are the same? That is called the thought of interdependent arising. Understood? When it begins, it's new, and when it dies, what exists disappears, right? Originally, when it came, it was something that didn't exist from the beginning that came. It wasn't something created from the beginning and a person was taken out, was it? Is that so or not? What didn't exist originally was created by human beings and came out into the world. And when it goes, it disappears like the wind and leaves. That is life, isn't it? So, that is called the thought of interdependent arising. But it came, but what is something that has no end? That is the question. Is it difficult? It's difficult. Is it difficult? Then I should give it as a Jew. Tell them to solve it. Solve it. Should I give a hint? No, the world is not easy for human beings to live in. Understood? It is not easy. If there is a father, there is a grandfather, and it continues down the line like this. Does it come down or not? It comes down. What happens if they can't have a son as it comes down? Does the lineage get cut off? The lineage gets cut off. If it doesn't get cut off, I must break it off. Listen carefully, All things in the world, all things means life. It is talking about life, the Chinese character for life, life. There is life in the world, that's what I'm saying. Life is talking about all things, and all things that come to the world all have an end. There is nothing without an end. Because there is an end, all things in the world always come and start anew, and always start anew and go. That's what I'm saying. All things itself always disappear after coming because they are living beings, but what comes and continues without breaking off is Gong thought. Understood? Why is that? Your soul, spirit, when it comes, it doesn't break off. That's the meaning. Understood? Your soul, spirit does not break off. It always exists. That's why even if it's been a long time since someone died, because the soul, spirit always remains the same. You can always summon that soul, spirit and perform the Chendo ceremony. That's what I'm saying. You can have rebirth at the land of happiness again. That's what I'm saying. Do you understand now? So listen carefully. Because my body is flesh and bones, it lives and arises interdependently and then leaves. But inside my body, there is the thought that does not break off. So it came, but that it does not break off means my fundamental soul, spirit. That's why it can come to the world any time. That's what I'm saying. Understood? You learned something good, right? That's why a person is precious. That's what I'm saying. That's why even if it's been decades, 100 or 200 years since someone died, you can always bring that soul, spirit and perform the Chendo ceremony. So I did it once last time, didn't I? It's been about 530 or 40 years since the deposed Queen Y passed away, hasn't it? She is still a ghost even now, I saw. Because she died unjustly, she kept coming to the temple, that's what I heard. The dead ghost, that's why I performed the Chando ceremony, didn't I? Even though it's been over 500 years since she died, she is still there. Then the dead cannot achieve. How many years has it been since Shakyamuni Buddha passed away? It's been several thousand years, hasn't it? Even after such a long time, the Buddha is always present. That's the meaning. Did you understand? Because he is present, he is Buddha, that's what I'm saying. But even if he is not Buddha, he exists. He exists exactly the same. Do you understand? So, even if it's been several thousand years since he passed away, since he left the world, the Buddha is always present. But saying that good things will happen if you pray and wish to him is not right. Why is that? The dead cannot achieve. Why is that? Only a living object can interdependently arise by coming and going and giving and receiving from each other. But the dead person cannot arise interdependently, that's what I'm saying. That's why I gave the analogy of the dead persimmon tree. That's why when a person dies, they cannot act. Although they are a precious and noble person, they cannot do anything for you. That's what I'm saying. But how do they do it? Even if they cannot do it themselves, they can always do it with wisdom. The difference between the dead Buddha and the living Buddha. For example, I am sick, but there is no way for me to get better. That's what I'm saying. But I can't die either. In such cases, he guides the way to get better. That is Buddha, that, looking at that, understood? Looking at that, it is called Gong thought. So, he can guide any time, that's what I'm saying. Did you understand? He cannot do it himself. Even if he cannot do it, he can guide, that's what I'm saying. Anytime. Do you understand now? So you must know the meaning and learn the enlightenment. So, the Buddha is not something that disappears. He always exists. He exists, but he cannot do it himself. But he can guide, that's what I'm saying. That is the Buddha. Maitreya Buddha is the same. Even Maitreya Buddha, if he lives and dies, it is the same. He can guide, that's what I'm saying. But he cannot do it. Because if there is no flesh and bones, he cannot arise interdependently by giving and receiving from each other. So he cannot do it. That's what I'm saying. A living person eats rice, doesn't he? Does a dead person eat rice? Is that right or not? He cannot eat. So you must learn this. Clap, clap, clap. The answer is contained here. So you are curious, aren't you? Because I clap every day. Do you know what clapping once means? This is something that exists and then disappears. Clapping 2 or 3 times can be clapped continuously, right? This means that it can arise interdependently continuously without breaking off. That's why I clap 3 times. So because it doesn't break off, because it can be clapped continuously, that is called Gong thought. That's why the reason why I say that the existing Buddhism is wrong is contained here. The answer, why would I give advice to those who are learning the enlightenment of the existing Buddhism? It's enough if they do it themselves, right? However, because they are learning the enlightenment not by themselves but by putting the Buddha named Shakyamuni, they didn't establish it and do it themselves, did they? Then, because the person named Shakyamuni came to the world and brought this awakening, living beings believe and learn the enlightenment because they think that law is good, isn't that right? That's why I'm saying such things. If they do it with their own things, there is no need to talk, that's what I'm saying. Then, religious sect, denomination. This is a religious sect, denomination, that's what I'm saying. So, when I quietly listen to the monks' sermons, they say, it's Mahayana Buddhism, it's Mahayana, with unnecessary nonsense. Mahayana is not Mahayana, that. Gong thought is Mahayana. Mahayana becomes Mahayana only when it becomes Gong thought. The thought of interdependent arising is not Mahayana, it is Hinayana. Why is that? Because interdependent arising exists and then disappears. It cannot exist forever. That's what I'm saying. It becomes Hinayana. Hinayana is talking about living beings. To become Mahayana, it must become Gong thought to become Mahayana. That is becoming immortality, eternity, forever. That's the meaning. So, learn anew. That's what I'm saying. Because you don't know. Maitreya Buddha came, so can a person who is only Maitreya Buddha in words and has no power become a Buddha? Monks must listen carefully to what I say and learn. Even if you learn this until you die without learning at all. Then, if you die without learning at all until you die, you do not attain Buddhahood. You must learn more. Is that right or not? Will an elementary school student who only graduates from the first grade of elementary school become a teacher? It's only up to that point. You must learn a lot. You must properly know whether I have learned the enlightenment properly, whether I did it wrong or right, and learn the enlightenment. If you look, you can know to what extent the learning the enlightenment is. Then Maitreya Buddha brought Gong thought and emits the light from his body. Then you don't even know the meaning of light emission, right? So, what is the sun's light? The sun's light is called Gong thought. Then, what is the Buddha's enlightened light that Maitreya Buddha brought when he came to the world? How can he emit the light and light come out from a human body? Isn't it strange? That's why he is Buddha. Why is that? To enlighten humans and to reincarnate and enlighten, save the soul, spirit that has no flesh and bones. What do you do it with? It can only be done with Buddha's enlightened light. That's what I'm saying. But you must not deny that. That's the meaning. That's why I am saying these words to sublimate this precious good awakening into the existing Buddhism so that Buddhism can become a good religious sect, denomination until the end of this world in the future. Why would I do this for no reason? Unnecessarily. But the fact that the monks unconditionally oppose me is too ignorant. The monks, if I bring this awakened Buddhism and present it to Buddhism, where is the religious sect, denomination in the world that can compete with Buddhism? There is not one on earth. I am trying to pass on such a precious awakened Buddhism to Buddhism, but hating me doesn't make sense, does it? Calling a perfectly fine person fake. He is truly a strange person. I see. The head monk of DG Temple said that, didn't he? Calling me fake. He is a truly strange person. What kind of person like that shaves his head and becomes a monk? He should go out and grow his hair. That person doesn't know any Buddhism either. Guanyin Bodhisattva is not Buddha. She is a regular female Buddhist. Even if I try to perform the Chindo ceremony for Guanyin Bodhisattva right now here, it's just like eating cold porridge. If I want to perform the Chindo ceremony for Guanyin Bodhisattva, the Buddha has the Buddha's enlightened light, so he can perform the Chindo ceremony for any soul, spirit immediately. Guanyin Bodhisattva is also a soul, spirit. Do you think Guanyin Bodhisattva has a living flesh and bones? That person is also a soul, spirit. I can perform the Chindo ceremony immediately, if I want to. But why did they do such an act? That is the story. One must live the world knowing something. If there are words that are unpleasant to hear, one can say, these words are unpleasant to hear. I don't know if they can say such a thing, but they call a normal person a fake. They call the Buddha a fake. There is Maitreya Buddha separately and Maitreya Bodhisattva separately, and there are various things separately. And they just keep saying this, and well, that is not even a monk and they act strangely. That is why many Buddhists who attend temples left Christianity. That is the story. Why is that? Problems and limitations of existing religious sect, denomination religious sect, denomination are insignificant. They just keep telling people to pray, and telling them to do Zen meditation. They do pray. They wait for something. When there is nothing in the world, life all has a path. A path. Life has a path to go. No matter how good of a car you are given, if there is no road, you don't need the car, do you? Where do you drive it to? How far do you carry the car? Life all has a path. A path. There is a path to go. If I have impure thinking and have a bad mind, I go to a bad place. If I have good thinking, I go to a good place. Do you know now? So, this awakening Buddhism must be grafted onto Buddhism. Only then will Buddhism have hope in the future. That is the story. If you go to the US or overseas and talk about Buddhism, people won't even look at you. They say, "What is that?" Here, they treat it as Buddhism. Try going over there. If you talk about a temple, they say, "What does that do?" But they know Jesus well. Religious sect, denomination are the same. Christianity and Buddhism are the same. Do you know why they are the same? They are the same. If you weigh them, they are not off by even one mark. Why are they the same? It's because they believe in what is not visible, what cannot be seen, and what cannot be confirmed. That is the story. I am not speaking ill of them. I tell you, if you have a conscience, think about it. I am not speaking ill of them. They are the same, aren't they? They believe in God. If God is watching, what is the need to believe? God cannot give anything. What is the point of going to heaven when you die? When you die and go. That is why I said that. When I am alive is precious. Only when I am alive can I interdependently arise and build up fortune. What can a dead person do? If one dies, it's the end. What is the meaning of going to heaven when one dies? There is no meaning. So, no matter how brilliant a person is, if they die, it's the end. It's the same even if they have a lot of money. If one dies, it's the end. I must accumulate much virtue and merit while I am alive. So, why did the saying, "Leave your name when you live and die," come about? Truly, this person lived and went well like this. It is to leave the name, to leave that behind. What else is there? Therefore, what is not visible is not a religious sect, denomination. Believing in the Buddha is not bad. It's good. If one believes in the Buddha, would the Buddha tell them to steal? It's good. That is the story. It is good, but the Buddha cannot do anything for them. That is the story. It means to go knowing that. Guidance can be given, guidance. So, I did that a lot in the past. Jesus is the same. He sent people to me countless times. People at the church who were sick. They said Jesus sent them. But why is that? Ordinary living being cannot do it. Only the saint and the noble can do it. So, Shakyamuni Buddha or Jesus means they are the saint and the noble. The saint and the noble. Our monk was also guided and came, wasn't he? Guided. The Buddha guided him and he came. He was so sick that he was about to die, and he had nowhere to speak, and no one to understand his mind, so he couldn't die. So he pleaded with Shakyamuni Buddha every day, and he said he spoke. The person who was guided and came as monk Hyeu. So, the Buddha gave him guidance, but he must go knowing. They are the same. Jesus or the Buddha, if I want it, they give guidance. That is the story. They give guidance, but they cannot fulfill my wish. That is the story. They cannot fulfill it. Therefore, one absolutely cannot achieve it by making a wish. That is the story. It means you shouldn't make a wish. Why make a wish? Did you understand? Also, it is because he was so sick that he reached death, that the Buddha saw him and gave him guidance so he could come. Why would he give guidance to a normal person? That is the story. You understood, right? That is called the Buddha. You must know clearly if you are going to have a religious sect, denomination. If he gives guidance, he can go his own path, so he can live, can't he? Is that so or not? That is called the Buddha. So, Shakyamuni Buddha or Jesus means they are the saint and the noble. The saint and the noble. Understood? The saint and the noble. Confucius or Mencius and such people are not the saint and the noble. They are interdependently arising noble. Interdependently arising noble. They are different. Did you learn a lot today? You must know the meaning of the religious sect, denomination. As I learn the enlightenment, I must continuously learn the enlightenment Gong thought. I only talked a little bit, but if you learn the inexhaustible amount, you will be amazed. If I speak, you will be amazed. Instead of just shaving your head and wearing monastic robes with words, you must have ability. Only then can I become a guide. How can a person with no ability give guidance? They cannot. Did you learn a lot today? You learned good things, didn't you? There are many. Today is Maitreya's day, and I told you many things today, and you must learn them and practice them well. If you don't practice and just vaguely pass over it, there is no reward for having come and learned. All the bad karma in your body is subject to extinction, and being possessed by a soul, spirit is also karma. It is frightening when it enters the body. All such things are also subject to extinction. Next time, the Buddha's enlightened light transcends space every Sunday at the Buddhist meeting. I intend to do it for people across the country who are lying sick in the hospital. I also intend to do it for cancer patients. I can do it not only in our country but globally. The Buddha's enlightened light is the same as the light of the sun. If a person in the US performs the Chendo ceremony and I perform it here, it is done immediately. Even for a person in the US, it is the same as the light of the sun. I tell you, the Chendo ceremony is not something that has to come from far away. It is done immediately. So, you came to Y Temple well. You truly came well. I have made all your karma subject to extinction with the Buddha's enlightened light. What is the use if there are many chestnuts in the burr on the chestnut tree? It is a chestnut only when the chestnut comes out. The burr is not a chestnut, right? You all have escaped from the chestnut burr, so you all can sprout the chestnut even if you plant it anywhere. Is that right or not? The chestnut burr is not a chestnut, I'm telling you. It's only the shape of a chestnut, but it's not that chestnut. You all have escaped from the chestnut burr and come out, I'm telling you. Wrong learning also arises interdependently, so you receive the same punishment these days. I see that in big temples nationwide, in temples, with many of the faithful, they are attacking our temple a lot. But that is the path that hastens their own death. That, they are evaluating AY temple extremely badly and telling the faithful not to go. And I see they are all doing such actions at every temple. I know everything. So, I don't know what the monks who do such actions are planning to do later on by doing such things. No matter how bad a person is, you know, even if they are a beggar, uneducated, and incompetent, no matter how poor and badly off they are, a living person is the best, understood? A living person is the best in the world. They are doing such things because they have not learned the enlightenment. If they learn the enlightenment about what Gong thought is, they would not do such things even if they were given a lump of gold. The monks, do you know how scary it is? I am going to teach you step by step later on. If I know Gong thought, I would never do actions that slander and criticize me, even if the entire earth was given to me. But they are doing such actions because they have not learned the enlightenment, are ignorant, and have learned nothing. That's the meaning. No matter how incompetent a person is, you know, even if they are a beggar, uneducated, and incompetent, no matter how poor and badly off they are, a living person is the best, understood? A living person is the best in the world. They are doing such things because they have not learned the enlightenment. If they learn the enlightenment about what Gong thought is, they would not do such things even if they were given a lump of gold. The monks, do you know how scary it is? I am going to teach you step by step later on. If I know Gong thought, I would never do actions that slander and criticize me, even if the entire earth was given to me. But they are doing such actions because they have not learned the enlightenment, are ignorant, and have learned nothing. That's the meaning. The people who go and sit there also receive the same karma, because they hear with their ears and see with their eyes. Do you understand? If you hear bad words with your ears and see and hear with your eyes, and I listen to that person's mind and sit there, because the person and the person sitting and listening are arising interdependently the same, if they listen together, that person also receives such punishment. Understood? If you go there, the monk who says such words and the Buddhist who is sitting and listening to such words both receive the same punishment. That is called the thought of interdependent arising. Now you know, right? Why do you send your child to school after giving birth? It would be easier to send them to a thief and let them learn to steal. Where did I learn from whom? Learning is the thought of interdependent arising, isn't it? So, a person who goes and sits there and listens to such words also receives the same punishment because they arise interdependently the same as the person who is speaking. You must live your life well. If you listen to such things for no reason and sympathize with them, your life ends with that. That's why I am teaching you the law of interdependent arising. Understood? Interdependent arising is arising interdependently as you do. You must be careful. It is scary once you know Buddhism. If you go there and sit and listen and sympathize, you arise interdependently as the same person, so you receive the same punishment. So, what do they say in Buddhism these days? They call the thinking or mind that one has during one's lifetime, what they have in their head, alaya vijnana, don't they? Is that right or not? Alaya vijnana is not thinking. It is mind. Do you know? Alaya vijnana is not thinking. I'm telling you, mind is alaya vijnana. Because it becomes mind, it is input into the head. Thinking is what disappears, that is thinking. That's why if a person hears such words and it enters their mind, it doesn't get erased from that person's head, does it? How scary it is. If you sit there unknowingly and make a mistake, your life ends. Interdependent arising is that even though there is a good thought of interdependent arising that I can come back as a human body in the next life, I go to such a place for no reason unnecessarily and hear such words, and only bad things are engraved in my alaya vijnana, nothing else can enter. That's what I'm saying. Is that right or not? Just try smoking cigarettes, everyone. How hard is it to quit smoking? Do you get full if you smoke? But you can't quit. The thought of cigarettes always comes to your mind. If you go and sit there, a big problem arises. That's why I am telling you the thought of interdependent arising. Now you know, right? It's scary once you know. It is scary. If you sit there following others who go unknowingly, you ruin your life. Completely ruin your life. That's right. I know many monks. I said I know a lot, didn't I? Monks who learn the enlightenment properly absolutely do not talk about others. They just listen quietly and don't even look. They absolutely do not talk about others. Whatever others do, they absolutely do not talk about others. Only monks who haven't learned the enlightenment and are strange shaved head monks curse and slander others. But how can proper monks slander others and do such things? They don't. I know who does it. I see that many monks are listening now. I see that many are listening. Should I end now? Why don't you answer? Is it fun? It's fun, isn't it? A person is truly precious. There is nothing as good as a person in the world. If you are a person, there is nothing you cannot do, right? Huh? Shall I tell you one more thing? Among all things are a single item. Humans are not a single item. Why is that? Humans, even if their physique is small, a person's body is small, right? Right? But a human's head contains Gong thought. That's why there is a function in the head that can control the world. That's why I also told the monk the other day a silent piano is just a box. If a piano makes a wonderful sound, the sound is good, isn't it, the piano? Huh? But if the sound only makes one kind of sound, it's not fun, is it? Right? Even do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. You can only sing a song if various sounds come out, right? Is that right or not? But what is the best piano in the world? The best piano in the world. Huh? No. The piano that makes a beautiful sound is the best piano, isn't it? Is that right or not? No. Is it right or wrong? Right? The piano that makes the most beautiful sound is the best piano, isn't it? Huh? But I don't think that. I don't think that. You would say that the piano that makes the most beautiful sound is the best piano in the world, wouldn't you? Right? What is that sound? It is you all learning the enlightenment. A piano is a piano because it makes a sound. If it doesn't make a sound, it's a box, right? You play the piano to make a sound. But if that piano doesn't make a sound, it's a box. You make a good piano to make a beautiful sound. That's what I'm saying. But a good piano is not a good piano because it makes a beautiful sound. I think this way. You all don't think that way. You said that making a good sound is a good piano, didn't you? The thoughts are different, aren't they? Right? Why is that? So, this is all learning the enlightenment. I'm not saying it for fun or whatever, huh? Awakened Buddhism is also contained here. That's what I'm saying. Even in the sound of the piano. How should a piano be to make a good sound? Listen carefully. That's why there must be a way for the piano to make a good sound, right? Right? You shouldn't try to listen to a good sound. But you should know the way to make a good sound. That's what I'm saying. The life of the piano is not the sound. But there is sound in the intensity with which you can make a sound. Intensity. Intensity. I am a doctor, not lying. It's because these monks don't know much. That's why. I am a doctor of all things that all humans living in the world live. I am the person who developed the piano that makes the most beautiful sound in the world. I am. Even if hundreds of millions of monks on earth gather and research, it's not as good as what I think for 1 second. I am not disrespecting them. I know that well. I'm telling you, a beautiful sound comes out according to the intensity of that sound. This is technology. I am the person who developed this. What are you thinking? Sitting there with your eyes closed and looking at the wall. That is the life of the piano. Understood? What is sound? What is the piano sound? The piano sound is transience, isn't it? It arises interdependently. Sound. The master of the sound is contained in the intensity of the piano. Understood? Anyone can make a beautiful sound if they hit it, according to the intensity, right? Sound, once it is made, it disappears. Does the sound continue? When I need it, if I hit it, I can make a song sound, right? So, that is transience. That's what I'm saying. This is arising interdependently. So, the life of the piano is contained in the intensity of the piano. Huh? These Buddhists who go to the temple, these Buddhists who believe in the Buddha, everyone on earth must come and learn from me. Anyone, everyone must come and learn. You must learn everything from 1 to 10. What you have now is useless. All transience. You must throw it away. What you have now, there is nothing. What is there that you can bring out right away? There is nothing. What do you know? Only your stomach is full of poop. You don't know anything. There is nothing you can bring out, is there? Bring anything to me. I will solve everything. Anything. What? The affinity of Gong thought that transcends memory. So, you are curious how I came to Y Temple, aren't you? The monk here didn't call me to come, right? How did I come? Listen carefully, everyone. What is affinity? Affinity. Affinity does not just happen. Affinity is something that becomes affinity only if you create it. If you don't create it, it doesn't become affinity. Understood? Affinity is something that does not become affinity if I don't create it. I tell you, it becomes affinity only if you create it. Then, you all have an affinity with Maitreya Buddha in a past life. You have an affinity. I don't forget anything if I see it with my eyes just once. What is that called? Memory? Remember? Memory? Is memory right? Memory. No. Memory is memory. That is why you must learn the enlightenment. There is something I have never seen, and something I saw with my eyes just once. Just once. Understood? What is seeing with the eyes just once called? That is called Gong thought. Understood? So, memory is the principle of impermanence, and Gong thought refers to the awakening law, Buddhism. Understood? Even if you see it with your eyes just once, whether you glanced at it or saw it once, if you see it with your eyes just once, I have it in my mind, don't I? That is called Gong thought. So, you all have an affinity with Maitreya Buddha in a past life. Understood? It is precious, so you should not discard it carelessly. You must keep it well. Head monk questioned Buddha, in the YouTube comments, a female Buddhist I keeps doing this to the Buddha's nose. She commented that it's because the Buddha's enlightened light comes out of his nose, and it makes her itchy. It's very itchy because the light comes out. I feel good now today. So, you all know now, right? So, you must learn this religious sect, denomination. If you learn, anyone can know everything. And then I go that path. So, it is very good. You must all come and learn this. My words, the reason you come to White Temple is that you have an affinity in a past life. Affinity, a female Buddhist. I last time at the Buddhist meeting. Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha turned the incense flame, that red incense flame, around from underneath for those who have an affinity here. Like lotus lantern, individual lantern, Buddhist membership card, or candle offering, incense offering, or rice offering, those who have an affinity with the Buddha here, and that COVID-19 was as small as millet, but the bacteria that will come when COVID-19 extinction is as big as a wooden fish. It rose up, and the Buddha had a dustpan as big as the earth, and when he swept it once with a broom, it was contained in it. But when he put a magnet to it, they all stuck to it, and he opened the sun's crater like this and put them in there. So, I asked, Buddha, are you looking after even the soul, spirit who received the Chindo ceremony who have an affinity here? And he said, it is so. Is that right? That's right, that's it. It's right. You saw it accurately. So, learning is originally fun. If you know one thing, it's really fun. You don't only see people, but if you look at anything, you can see everything. You came to the world like this. You came like this. You live and go like this. You can see all of this with your eyes. So, you must have seen it on YouTube. A farmer farms, and every morning, the farmer circles his rice field and leaves. The rice plant knows it. Oh, our master is looking over us again today and leaving. It knows it, and that knowing is correct. Why? I said that if I plant a potato, the potato changes into the shape of the Maitreya Buddha statue, didn't I? It's the same story. If a farmer circles his rice field once and leaves, the rice plant knows it, that is the story. But the shape does not change. Why? Because the owner of the rice field is not the Buddha and there is no Buddha's enlightened light, so even though the shape does not change, it knows that he came and went, that is the story. Do you understand? There is so much to learn, I tell you. It's because I don't tell you. All of this has a meaning. It's astonishing if you learn. So, even if a couple lives together, they absolutely should not fight. If they fight, they should not live together. They should separate. So, a couple living happily is the best thing in the world. I tell you, you shouldn't fight. If you fight, you bear a big karma. I will teach you all about that later too. That you shouldn't fight. So, even such plants know everything. So a human being with wisdom shouldn't fight like that, right? It's absolutely wrong. Today, even though I did nothing wrong, my wife gave me poorly prepared side dishes, so the man got annoyed. He can get annoyed, can't he? He works his butt off to earn money, so he can get annoyed that she doesn't prepare the side dishes well, can't he? This is frightening. You must absolutely not get annoyed. If I listen carefully to the sermons of the monks in Buddhism these days, transient's unremarkable teaching sermon without awakening, if I listen, it's just unremarkable teaching sermon. Just unremarkable teaching sermon for human beings living their lives. They all do such things. But what will they do by learning unremarkable teaching sermon? What does unremarkable teaching sermon mean? It is transience. If you listen to that, if you eat rice this morning, you have to eat rice again for lunch. In that way, even if you listen to unremarkable teaching sermon, human beings have no awakening. You don't even need to listen to such things. What kind of sermon does such a monk give, who says, go well when a father dies? There is even a monk who says he is the one's future being of the holy Gasyop, and he tells all kinds of lies. But why would Gasyop go to such a monk when he has nowhere to go? Really, is that so or not? What kind of person is Gasyop? Gasyop is living being, isn't he? Gasyop is living being. So what is the point of Gasyop going to a monk who is living being? Think about it. Gasyop is not the Buddha, is he? He doesn't have awakening. So what is the point of Gasyop going to a monk? They are all swindlers. Swindler, the very statement that Gasyop went there is not correct. So if he says he is the one's future being who came back from there, then he is a swindler. That is the story. Since he says he went to a place he cannot go, isn't that a lie? Oh, Gasyop is there as a soul, spirit, why would he go there? They bring people and somehow make up stories to deceive people and spread such thieving Buddhism. So Buddhism has become like this, and all the people who are smart and young these days and have learned a lot, they all go to church, even the kids. Only old people are sitting there when you go. Why is that? What hope is there? Protecting the temple is not important. They must somehow revitalize the temple. What is the point of protecting the temple? I will tell you even better things next time. Even if I tell you a lot, it is not all entered into your mind. Since it is overflowing, I will stop here today and do it next time. It seems you are disappointed, but there is another day, isn't there? Right? You are fortunate. How many times do I have to say it? You are fortunate people. You are fortunate people. Now you must be hungry, so please have a meal, and you learned a lot today, didn't you? Since you learned a lot, I will tell you more next time. I will stop here for today, and since there is COVID-19, please be careful, be healthy, and may you only have good things happen. The female Buddhist LS said earlier, she commented that the germ that will come after the coronavirus is too big and scary, and that everyone who gets it will die, but at that time, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha saw that he extinguished and sealed off all the people who submitted Buddhist membership cards to ASY Temple. Those who installed individual lanterns or lotus lanterns or lanterns for the dead, and the people who received the Chendo ceremony and reincarnation and went, the people born and living, and the disciples and related people from Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha's previous life, from the germs, she said. The female Buddhist LS couldn't say those words today. But as time goes on, those who have connections and such people are all destined to come. 2 monks are sitting behind you now, aren't they? These people don't really know how they came. They will only know if I tell them accurately. They are all here. I didn't tell them, but they are here. There is meaning. So, it's not that they come because someone tells them to come. So, I'm going to tell them now. To the person now, understood? There are tens of thousands of monks nationwide, but not all of them come. Absolutely not all of them come, but the connected ones. So the person who awakens their own path is Gong thought. Connection is escaping from a living being, that is called connection. So, I finished the sermon earlier, and a bean is transience when it is a bean. But when the bean is planted, it becomes a connection. Is that right or not? It's the same. Even if a person has a connection, it's fine if they don't come. But if they form a connection, they are destined to come. That's why that person asked earlier. She said she doesn't know the reason why she comes to Y Temple. But that is because there is a connection that she came. So, because they are precious people, a connection is something one makes themselves. It is not something the Buddha made. Making it oneself and having it as a connection. That's what I'm saying. That is called Gong thought. No one made it. One made it oneself. So it is precious. Look at Jesus. If you look at Jesus, there are many better words than in Buddhism. If you look closely at what Jesus says, there is meaning in that. That's what I'm saying. So, entrusting my path to the Buddha or Jesus and going is what a living being originally does. And the person who awakens their own path and goes is called Gong thought. Do you understand? So, they are great people, that's what I'm saying. Being led by others and going on my own are different, aren't they? It's the difference between heaven and earth. That's why the difference between Hinayana and Mahayana is there. So, Hinayana is only a living being. If it becomes Mahayana, it is Buddha, isn't it? You attain Buddhahood? You clearly understood today, didn't you? That's why it's different from such an ordinary level. That's what I'm saying. It is very precious. So, since you have heard a lot of my words today, judge well how precious it is. This was broadcast live today, wasn't it? Go home and listen again. If you listen, it keeps coming out of your head. If you interpret this in Chinese characters, it's called Segium color sound. It means that my interpretation comes out. The interpretation keeps coming out. The female Buddhist LS is asking about the meaning of the white dragon. The white dragon means that all the karma has been extinguished. It does not mean the dragon is white, but it means that the living beings have all had their karma extinguished. The people who are sitting here, a female Buddhist, I took a picture of the white dragon. The white dragon was white and not there, and you know the white dragon's eyes. Only the very big, blue eyes were photographed. So I knew that the white dragon's eyes are blue. I took a picture. Did you take a picture? Show it to me in a little while. You all have so many good things. It's just because I don't say anything. There are unimaginably many things to learn. But that monk and the president of the Faithful Association have listened for 10 years. You have listened a lot, haven't you? Good things. You have listened a lot. Listening a lot means that it all enters your head. So, you go according to what you know. It is precious. It is not too late for you all either. So you must listen to this sermon a lot. So, if I listen a lot, there is nothing more to say. It's the best. So, you must listen a lot. If you go home and listen to what you heard today, you awaken a lot. What you heard today, huh? You awaken a lot. Even the bad things in my body all disappear. It is the real thing to eliminate bad things oneself rather than trying to receive extinction of bad things here. Eliminating my own things. Isn't that right? Rather than receiving extinction here. It's also real for me to eliminate my own things. This face has changed a little. If you look at the people sitting here, compared to the other day, it has changed a little. Resemble the Buddha. So, if you believe in the Buddha, you must resemble the Buddha. The appearance. If you underservant goes to live as an underservant, he must resemble the owner to live as an underservant. If he doesn't resemble the owner, he must leave. He cannot live in that house. So, if you believe in the Buddha, you must resemble the Buddha. If you don't resemble him, it won't do, right? Right? Ah, look at a lion. The male lion kills all the cubs because they are not his own children. He only acknowledges his own children. Haven't you seen the animal world? A male lion only acknowledges the cubs that he sired. He doesn't acknowledge the cubs that another male lion sired. I'm telling you, he kills them all. If you all believe in the Buddha, you must resemble the Buddha. Resemble what? Is that right or not? Right? Isn't it obvious? So, the fact that you all came to Y Temple, I sometimes say such things to our monk too. You all didn't just come. You are people who came preciously. I'm telling you. So, go home and listen to the Maitreya sermon a lot. It is all contained there. It's just because I don't interpret it one by one. If you listen, it is all contained there. It is all contained. So, you must listen often. It would be good if I listened too, to what I say. It is all contained there, I'm telling you. Then, you can go up to the level of hundreds of thousands of earths, even if I only know all of that. Hundreds of thousands of earths. There are very good words contained there. There is the sermon that was released first, isn't there? Almost all of it is contained there. About 70% is all contained there. That is very good. Today, I also told you many good things. Today, I interpreted a lot with analogies a lot. If I don't interpret it, you all won't know what I'm saying at all. You only know if I tell you. You don't know what I'm saying. You all know. You don't know this and this either. Do you understand now? This, what is this and what is this? There are many. So, you all, is Maitreya Buddha just Buddha in words? I closed it, didn't I? What is it when I put it like this? What is this? I closed the lid like this, didn't I? What is it when I put it like this? What is this and what is this? If I say Buddha, it's not just Buddha in words. The real awakening is unimaginable. It's because you all don't know me well. Imagination. So, the awakening is so enormous, you can't imagine. Because there is so much. When the association president first entered Y Temple, it was something she had never even dreamed of. And when she first saw it, she wondered if it was Buddhism or if I was performing magic. She said, that's what happened. But time has passed now. She gives many lectures to executives and high-ranking people at her company. Then, when she gives those lectures, she has the ability she honed at Y Temple, doesn't she? when she gives a lecture by grafting this onto it. There are many well-educated people at that company. Most people these days graduate from college. Those people cannot be quick-eared. Be quick of hearing. Be quick-eared. Be quick of hearing. What I am saying. They cannot be quick-eared. Be quick of hearing. Not at all. Even people who have learned a lot. They ask what that is. After 2 years, they started to be quick-eared. Be quick of hearing. So, now they like it very much. Why? Because it started like this, and after 2 years, it perfectly matched. They say, so, this is practicing the way. When she goes to the company, they call her a master of the way. Why is that? You must know the world. If you don't know, the future is not visible. Understood? So, if I awakening, the future days are all visible. I tell you, I say it countless times. I can see even 1,000 years, 10,000 years. I know everything beforehand. It will be like this. Human beings will be like this after death. In 100 or 200 years from now, it will be like this. It's all there. I tell you, that is why we learn this. Then why else would we learn it? To earn money well and have good things happen? That is what living being like. You can know everything. So, for a company to become a good company for 1,000 years, 10,000 years in the future, the company has a future for 1,000 years, 10,000 years only if it has such awakening. Understood? When you perform the Chindo ceremony, you just bring the Chindo fee. So you think the temple performs the Chindo ceremony, right? The hardship of the Chindo ceremony. This Chindo ceremony is incredibly difficult. It's because you don't know well. I perform the Chindo ceremony risking my life. Because even if Maitreya Buddha has the Buddha's enlightened light, he is a living object. Maitreya Buddha is not dead, is he? The living body moves and emits the Buddha's enlightened light to take out the soul, spirit and perform the Chindo ceremony. So an enormous amount of energy is consumed. That is why my face becomes dark and I become exhausted. But if the Chindo ceremony is not performed, that wouldn't happen. Why would it become dark? If the Chindo ceremony is not performed, I would be fine. It is because the Chindo ceremony is performed and it is successful that such an amount of energy is consumed. That is the story. I do it risking my life. So, I told you earlier, didn't I? That I split the mountain. Then I have to go inside and take out the soul, spirit. Will they come out if I just beckon with my hand and say, come out like a puppy? Think about it. There are so many instances of people committing sin when they die and being trapped in a bad place that I can't talk about them all. But there are an enormous number of people trapped in very bad places. There are soul, spirit trapped in the sea, soul, spirit trapped in the deep river. Some are crushed by rocks, some are buried in the ground, some are trapped in fire, some are trapped in trucks, and some are trapped in the complete darkness, where the soul, spirit is trapped. That family will have countless cancer patients, people suffering from a stroke, and such people. The people trapped in such places. So, there are so many places where the soul, spirit is trapped that I can't talk about them all, but they are all trapped like that. So, why the soul, spirit dies and goes to such places, I will tell you at the next Buddhist meeting. Why the soul, spirit enters such places. It's amazing, isn't it? No. If one was trapped because the ground collapsed while mining coal underground and died, one would inevitably be trapped, but isn't it amazing to see them trapped in hell without even doing such a thing? I will teach you all those things next time too. Those are all there too. Being trapped, the family absolutely never prospers. The family just goes bankrupt and falls apart, if the ancestor is in such a place. So, I have to explain for a long time again, so I will explain next time. So, it means don't commit sin. If you commit a sin, you must pay the price quickly. Only then, if you procrastinate and die, you will receive it. I said it once then, didn't I? Soul, spirit being punished due to makgeolli debt. I told you the story of someone who drank a few bottles of makgeolli while working in the rice field, and died without receiving the payment for the makgeolli. and could not enter the underworld and was standing under a paulownia tree, getting rained on. Did you hear it? A few cups of makgeolli, it's not even much money, but he died while sleeping without paying it back. So, he had no chance to pay it back. The pub owner wrote it in the ledger, so it's in the ledger, isn't it? But how does King Yama know if he drank the makgeolli and paid it back or not? But it's clearly there. That, understood? It's on the soul, spirit, on the soul, spirit. It's marked. So, it means don't commit sin. How can he know all those many people? But the story that he couldn't enter the underworld and was standing under a paulownia tree, getting rained on, because he didn't pay back the money for a few cups of makgeolli. I heard that word directly, it's not a story. You heard that word directly, didn't you? Therefore, it is not a lie. There are many other things I know as reality besides that. So, you must absolutely not cheat others out of their money. You must pay it back, even if it's a small amount of money. Just giving it and cheating them out of it are different, aren't they? So, you must not commit sin. If you commit a sin, you must pay it back quickly. Understood? Is it interesting? The law of all things in the universe, the Gong thought. The teachings of Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha, the founder of the Gong thought. An enlightened Buddha emits light from his body and saves living beings with Buddha's enlightened light. The light of the sun that creates all things is Buddha's enlightened light. And only the Buddha's enlightened light of an enlightened Buddha can make humans reincarnate. The Buddha's enlightened light of the living Buddha. That is precisely the Gong thought. Receiving Shugi means embracing Buddha's enlightened light, that is, the Gong thought, within my body. After death, there is no samsara, only everything becomes extinct. If you receive Shugi with the Buddha's enlightened light of an enlightened Buddha, you will have eyes that can see the Yonghwa world even after death. Chendo and Shugi are only possible through the Buddha's enlightened light of an enlightened Buddha. Don't receive Chendo after death, receive Shugi while you are alive. Believe and follow only what you can see, hear, and confirm. The dead cannot arise interdependently, only the living can arise interdependently. Just as gold cannot be made artificially, a Buddha comes as a Buddha from the beginning, and a living being cannot become a Buddha through prayer or Zen meditation. However, those who have received Shugi can receive Buddha's enlightened light and become living Buddhas. All these Gong thought were created by Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha. Like the sky and the earth, the sea and the mountains, the source of life and creation, the limitless and eternal truth, the Gong thought. See, hear, and meet Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha's Gong thought directly every Sunday at Yonghwasa Temple in Surisan Mountain, Anyang.